We just spent 72 hours in Seoul, Korea, and we had an incredible time. We're going to share in this video exactly what you need to do. We did some awesome stuff. We did some very unique experiences, one being eating ramen on the Han River, and we got to show you how to do that because it's a really cool thing to do. We also visited the N Tower. We ate some incredible food, and we're going to list through all the best food that you must try if you go to Seoul, because if you don't try this, then you haven't really been. You're going to know exactly how much you need to spend, where to stay, what the best time of year to go is so you can see the cherry blossoms. All the things you need to know, you're going to find out in this video because we've spent so much time researching and we've been to so many of the best places in Seoul.
So make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. And if you have any questions along the way, don't be shy to drop them below because we're so happy to help.
Where should you stay when you come to Seoul? Well, we stayed in Gangnam, which was really cool place to stay. It's a very upmarket area, but it has a heap of cool bars, restaurants, really nice shopping. If you're into the cosmetics and all of that sort of stuff, it's really good for that. So a really cool place to stay. You can also stay in Myeongdong. That is a really central place to stay. And if you want to get access to everything around the city, this is probably the best place. It's got heaps of good food around, great shopping, and yeah, you're close to all the places like the palace and other sites that you can see. Hongdae is another nice area, also semi-central. And in this area, you'll see lots of people doing street performances. There's lots of art and culture around this area. One tip that I would give you is make sure you look for accommodation near a subway station. It is the easiest way to get around. So if you have a station close, then you're pretty much close to everything.
So when is the best time to visit Seoul? We went in November and thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know if we got lucky, but the weather was perfect for exploring the city. It was sunny and it wasn't too hot, but the best time is in either spring or autumn. So April to May or September and October. You might even be lucky enough to see some cherry blossoms. Towards the end of the year, it can start to get quite cool, and I think in some areas it does snow. And then of course in the middle of the year for summer, it can get really hot and humid. So depending on your preference of weather, you can go any time of the year, but I think the best are spring and autumn. So what is the best way to get around in Seoul? No doubt the train system in Seoul in South Korea is just phenomenal. It is so easy to hop on a train and go anywhere. The buses are also really good. All you need to do is get a T-Money card. We also recommend Ubers. Ubers are great, and we actually use these quite a lot within our trip just because they're super affordable and also quite good time-wise. It's a bit faster than the train, which is unusual. Our biggest recommendation here as well is download an app called Naver Maps, because Google Maps doesn't really work in South Korea. It only works for trains. So if you're trying to walk places or drive places, it just won't work for you. So Naver Maps is the way to go. So what are the must-try dishes in Seoul, South Korea? If you're a lover of food, this is absolutely going to be heaven for you. We had so much fun exploring the city and eating our way through. So our first recommendation is the kimchi jjigae, and I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but basically it's a kimchi stew and it's absolutely delicious. What you find with all of the meals that you probably eat, they bring you a lot of fermented and also pickled vegetables to start with, and they're all absolutely delicious. The second one was Tteokbokki, and this one was surprisingly my favorite dish. It was like a vermicelli fat noodle dipped in tomato paste, and I know that sounds so weird, but it's spicy and it's just the most amazing texture and flavor, and we absolutely loved it. We did an amazing food tour, which we will share the details of soon, but after we ate so much food in that food tour, we actually went back once the food tour was done to order more tteokbokki. So that just says how amazing it is. So if you're in South Korea, this is something that you definitely have to try. Number 3 is Hotteok. This is a sweet pancake filled with brown sugar and also has nuts inside. It's perfect for a little snack, and you can definitely find this at any Korean market that you go to. Number 4 is Bibimbap. You've probably heard of this one before, but it's a rice dish filled with heaps of different toppings and a special sauce, and it's really flavoursome and fresh and delicious.
One tip with the bibimbap is you usually mix this with your chopsticks and then you eat it with a spoon because it's a rice dish. And then of course you have to get Korean barbecue while you're in Seoul. It is one of the most popular dishes there. We went to Hanmiok, which was an amazing Korean barbecue place. They cook it in front of you because it's better when they cook it, honestly, from my experience. And this is really, really exciting. So they cook the barbecue in front of you, then they cook up an egg, and then they wrap it all together and show you how to eat it. It was super delicious, a real experience. They blowtorch everything with a blowtorch. I think the whole meal was about 40 Australian dollars per person, and that included beers, and a couple of extra other things.
Now, the food tour that I spoke about before was at the Cheonggyecheon Market, and we found this on Airbnb, and it had 3,700 5-star reviews. It's this one here, and it was amazing. They take you around for 2 hours. At first, we started with just wandering all the different stores and trying all the different food, and then there was a bit of history involved, and then we went to a restaurant and enjoyed more food, beers, and what's the wine called?
It was rice
soju?
wine. No, soju was a different thing. But we had rice wine.
We had rice wine, and we had a heap more dishes.
Yeah.
And then we got dessert afterwards as well.
Yeah, and then they also gave you soju and taught us how to drink the soju. So usually the Koreans drink it sumak, which is where you measure out soju and you mix it with beer. And we'll put the video here, but basically in order to get the perfect mix of the sumak, you put 2 shot glasses together to measure out how much soju you want to pour, and then you pour that into the drink, and then you want to fill the glass up pretty much half full with beer, and then you got to mix it. So there's lots of different ways of mixing this, but it's pretty fun. So one of them, they put a chopstick in and then they hit it really hard. Another one where they just smash the spoon into it to mix it. And I'm sure there's a bunch of others that I'm missing, but definitely an experience to do.
So what are the best cafes in Seoul? If you're a lover of coffee, pastries, cake, all of the things, you're also going to be in heaven and thoroughly enjoy this. I've never seen so many cafes in one spot, but also like trendy, cool, fun cafes. So the first place you have to go to is Ikseon-dong area. This is where Hanok village is as well, and there's just so many different cafes that you can try here, and they're all really cute, and you walk through like tight-knit little streets and alleyways to get there, and there's heaps of beautiful traditional old buildings, and it's just a really, really cool atmosphere. The cafes that we went to here were Nakwon and Mill Toast and the cheese industry that we loved, so definitely recommend checking those out.
I think our favourite of the 3 was Mill Toast because it has this really, really delicious steamed bread that none of us have ever tried before. It was super soft, really traditional and delicious, and something you must try when you go there.
A second recommendation and coffee shop that we loved was Ediya Coffee Lab. Now, there are lots of small chains of Ediya around, so they are chains and not that good, but they have a coffee roastery like lab in one area, and this place was amazing. It was huge. It's obviously where they cook the coffee. It's obviously where they make the coffee, and the fit out was just really cool. We came here and worked for a few hours, and it's just really cool vibe.
Yeah. Another cafe we went to was Nuldam. This is high on our recommendation list. Everything looks like art. It's kind of a mixture between a gallery and a cafe, and the desserts all looked like art. So when you go there, it's super aesthetic. Pick a couple of things. We had to use Google Translate to translate what they were, but they were all delicious. The drinks were delicious, and definitely one to check out.
You have to try the black sesame latte when you're there as well. We absolutely loved this and was a highlight of our trip.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the cultural experiences that you can get immersed in. Our favourite one to do was dressing up in the traditional Hanbok outfits. So we rented outfits, and it was 10 Australian dollars each, and we rented them for 2 hours, and basically they dress you up and you get to walk around town and also visit the palace wearing these outfits. Yeah. At first we felt a bit funny, but then we started to see that a lot of people getting immersed in this activity as well, and it's just a really fun vibe. So there's so many people walking around the city in these outfits, and it was just, definitely recommend that's something that you do.
You also get free entry to the palace and other areas if you're wearing the traditional hanbok. So, it's a bit of a bonus. Now, some cultural things that you might want to be wary of before you come to Seoul. One thing is that people abide by the rules, like crossing the road. So you won't see anyone crossing the road if it is not a green man. So make sure you follow those rules. One other thing is they like to respect the noise pollution. So people don't shout or people aren't loud. Thirdly, make sure you don't tip. In South Korea as a whole, you do not tip, and actually it can be impolite to tip. That all that cost is included in the price of the service or the product that you're buying. And a drinking cultural thing, when you are pouring drinks, you must not pour yourself a drink. So I think this pertains to anything, soju, rice wine, whatever, but always pour someone else's drink and don't let them pour for themselves. That's politeness. And then to show respect, you pour with two hands, and this is a sign of respect.
So what are some free and fun things to do whilst you're in Seoul? You can walk along the Cheonggyecheon River, which is a canal that runs west to east through the city, and it's really, really beautiful. You can walk along the whole canal and get, to places really easily. We went at night and didn't quite see the beauty of it throughout the day, but I've heard that it's absolutely beautiful to wander through the day as well. The second thing to do is visit Starfield Library in the COEX Plaza. This was so cool, and we'll pop some videos here. The aesthetics of this place is just fantastic. There's big walls and big shelves with all of these books with like elevators that run through it, and it's just a vibe. It's very Instagrammable. A lot of people are getting their Instagram shot, but it's also just a really cool place that you can come and chill. We had a coffee and just sort of took in the vibe, and highly recommend it.
Yeah. Number 3, you can hike Namsan Mountain. So this is like a big mountain pretty much in the middle of the city that gives you 360 views of the whole city. It's beautiful. You can watch the sunset there. It's fantastic, and the walk up will only take you about 30 or 40 minutes. On top of the mountain is also N Tower. Now this is a paid experience. It costs about $20 per person. Some people might try and charge you more, so just be wary of that. $20 is all you need to pay, so 20,000 I think, 20,000. So you can go check that out. It is definitely worthwhile. The views from the top are insane, and you can eat dinner up there if you like, or otherwise just buy beers and snacks and enjoy the view. We recommend going there at sunset, so around 4 or 4:30 before the sun sets, and then just watch the sunset and enjoy the afternoon.
So unique experiences in Seoul. We ticked off quite a few of these, and I think they almost made our trip. There was one cafe called Nuldam Space, which is a really cool concept. It is a vegan cafe, and you go and write a letter to your future self. So there's a station, and you pay $5 I think, and they give you all the tools that you need to write a letter and an envelope, and then you melt your wax yourself, and then use this to stamp your letter, and then you put a date that you want to send the letter to yourself, and they basically have this wall full of letters throughout every day of the year. There must be 365 pigeonholes, and then they send you the letter. So it's a really cool way. I love scripting, so it was really fun to sort of just a nice little wholesome experience, which is definitely something we recommend.
The second thing you should do, and this I think was so fun and super cheap. Basically, we went and ate ramen on the Han River. Now, this is something that they do in a lot of K-dramas, so it's something that, is pretty high on the local list of things to do in South Korea, in Seoul. And we basically went to the Han River. They've got servos, or not servos. We went to the Han River, and they've got little convenience stores all along the river. You go and find a nice convenience store, you pick out some ramen, and then they have these little things that cook your ramen. Now you can mix and match whatever you put in there. We put things like chicken, cheese, add eggs at the end, but it cooks it right on the spot, and then with about a minute to go, you add the eggs, and you've got this awesome, delicious ramen. And then you just walk on down to the front of the river, sit wherever you like. We were there at sunset as well, weren't we? At sunset as well for this, and it was just beautiful. We just wanted to spend much more time there. I think we had to fly home afterwards, unfortunately.
So one thing that we missed and that we have heard is really, really fun to do is attend a Korean baseball match. Unfortunately, this wasn't on the time that we were there, but you can definitely look up, hopefully it matches with your itinerary. Yeah. Accommodation, we paid I think around $110 a night for a pretty nice apartment, but of course there are tons of different places you can go if you're on a budget or if you want to spend a little bit more money. Food wise, we spent around $40 each a day. This doesn't include our food tour on Airbnb, which we definitely recommend doing. That was $110 per person, but other than that, I think $40 a day is what we spent on food.
Yeah.
Transportation, this includes our Ubers that we took around and also our buses and trains. This was around $15 each per day, which is also pretty good. And then attractions and activities was around $50 to $100 a day. This includes the Hanbok rental and the N Tower and every other experience that we did.
Probably all the coffees.
All the coffees, all the coffees, all the cakes and everything.
All the cakes, yeah.
So all in all, Seoul is pretty affordable. I definitely don't think it's as expensive as Japan from memory. It's probably somewhere in the middle of between like Thailand and Japan, but definitely recommend that you add it to your travel bucket list.
And if you wanted to find more budget things, like, you know, eating one meal at the convenience store is super affordable, and the food is delicious at those convenience stores. So, you know, and the markets, if you go and eat at the markets, you will pay hardly anything. The only times you're going to pay more is when you go to those nice places, but they are well worth it.
Awesome. So that wraps up our complete guide to Seoul, South Korea. If you liked this video, make sure you subscribe, give us a like, but also comment below with any questions. We are so happy to help. And guys, this is honestly, we did not expect South Korea to be so fantastic. So if you've been thinking about it or you don't know where you're going to go on your next travel destination, look into it, do your research, and definitely visit, because it was one of our favorite countries that we've been to in the last year, and we're definitely heading back soon.
No doubt.
No doubt. No diggity, no doubt.
No diggity, no doubt. Peace.